Hey everybody, thanks for signing on and being here. Welcome to the channel. Coach Mike is also in the building. Today we're going to talk about something that we've noticed a lot, especially in like kind of the meta of jiu-jitsu, is people allowing things to break and not tapping in any number of situations. We had a tournament, an in-house tournament here recently, and some of our like refs who are black belts had to tap for people. This is not a tournament where we were winning money, or I mean, you got a medal, I think, but like,
yeah,
it's not.
We didn't spend much money on those medals.
Right. So the point is, not tapping to something where someone has you is not helpful for a whole bunch of reasons. Would you like to go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like, the blatantly obvious reasons of, like you're going to get injured, and there's no real like benefit in it. Like, I don't know if you think like, oh, that makes you tough or whatever, but what I ultimately think, it just makes you look like you're not aware of like, your body's limitations. You're not aware of like the submissions that you're in danger and things like that. And actually, as an instructor, a promoting instructor too, I like use that for like grading, right? Like that lets me know where you are a little bit on the scale of like your knowledge of the sport. If you're not aware of certain things that you should be tapping to, like if I'm rolling with you and I have you in like an arm lock and I've got that fully extended and things like that, I'm absolutely not going to break your arm to like try to teach you a lesson or whatever. I'll probably have a discussion with you on how I felt like it was fully extended, and depending on your response to that discussion, I could either see that you've learned from it or you don't believe that it was. And if that's the case, like I value my opinion on my grading a little more than one of my students, I would say, in a situation such as that. Especially like a lower level, like a white belt or a blue belt, right? Like, maybe a brown belt or somebody, they're just a little bit more aware of their body's limitations, things like that. But I just think it's like a form of ignorance of what your limitations are. And furthermore, pending the importance of the competition, it's poor sportsmanship as well, right? When we're playing the game, when we're competing, right? Like, it's not like, like if we were playing football and you scored a touchdown, I couldn't be like, no, I don't give that touchdown. I don't give that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's poor sportsmanship. The other person probably doesn't want to break your arm or whatever the joint that they're manipulating is as well. So I just kind of think it's kind of like a jag thing to do if done intentionally. If done unintentionally, then you're just ignorant, and we just need to learn, and maybe we should be a little bit more aware before we feel comfortable entering into a competition.
And something you said while we were talking about this before was another reason. If you get injured and you end up having to get into an actual altercation while you're injured, guess what? You got a broken leg or whatever it is.
Whatever the appendage is, right? You're like, oh, I'm like, like you hear it all the time, right? Like if you're in here, like a trained person has such a, like even like after your first 6 months or so, like especially like by the time you get to blue belt level versus an untrained person, I mean, you all know, all of you who have reached the blue belt level or higher, you all know what you would have done to your untrained self now that you are a blue belt, and like how fast and quick and effortlessly you would have handled yourself. So if you're doing this with like a self-defense purpose in mind, which probably should be just like at least a little bit of what's in your mind, like you're now damaged, right? Like, okay, like you've learned all this technique, you've built this confidence, maybe even like some awareness to now be like, a lesser version of yourself, right? Like, like you got your arm in a sling. How are you not gonna have a great time defending yourself?
Yeah. Additionally, you're not useful to any of the people you're training with. And as I'm not a promoting instructor, but as somebody who, like, as a fellow practitioner, I know that I really love jiu-jitsu, and so one of my biggest fears is getting hurt. So I can't keep doing this and can't keep working. So like if I'm sometimes I'll avoid other activities because I don't want to get hurt, so I can do this. Like someone says, let's go snowboarding. I'm like, I don't know.
That's my big one is snowboarding.
Yeah.
Snowboarding's like you hear knee injuries snowboarding all the time. I'm like, I can't snowboard.
Right. So it's like that, and then, or I know whenever if let's say you get hurt,
yeah.
Like the first thing as soon as I hear that, I'm like, fuck.
It ruins it for everybody.
Ruins it for
right?
everybody.
It's like if I get hurt, I'm like, hey bro, I'm out for like 3 weeks. Like it's like, oh great. Now my training's a little lesser than what it could have been in those 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I'm disappointed, he's disappointed, we're all disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like don't be stupid, just tap. Just tap. It's okay. Like we're not thinking like, oh man, this person's a white belt, but they let their arm break, blue belt.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely certainly not the case. Now, I do want to clarify, like, you know what I mean, like the importance of the event could mean something different to you.
Of course.
For example, I'm blanking on it, a real famous world final. I believe it was Roger Gracie versus Jacare. I really hope I'm hitting that right, but Roger broke Jacare's arm. It was a gi match. In the final, Jacare still won the match, tucked his arm inside his belt, you know? But like, you know what I mean? Like that's like the world championship final. They've both been doing jiu-jitsu since they were children with this goal in mind. They're two all-time greats, stuff like that. You know, there's also like, maybe there wasn't money on the line, like specifically for that match, but there's money on the line as far as sponsorships, instructional sales, seminars and stuff like that go. You know, maybe higher level MMA fights that could be like, the result could be like a life-changing type thing for an individual. For example, I would be a hypocrite to say like, you know, like that I wouldn't venture that far. I had a pretty big title fight as a pro for the CFFC Cage Fury Fighting Championships, and the word on the street was, had I won, I was getting signed to the UFC. My opponent placed a guillotine on me, and you know, I wanted to give myself every single opportunity to escape that submission. I mean, not to mention it's a stranglehold, so I'm going to wake up and be okay. I wanted to give myself every single opportunity to escape that submission, and I ended up, you know, not tapping and going out. But like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, I felt like that going from a regional fighter to the UFC was a life-changing thing, a life goal, and I was willing to, like, you know, maybe sacrifice some other areas of my life for that.
Sure. But in a lot of cases, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, that is cool.
That was just for like when we get hit in the comments. Well, what if it's like, what if it's for the title?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So, let us know what you think in the comments about people not, or actually, you don't want to let us know maybe a time where you didn't tap or somebody you were rolling with didn't tap or whatever, and let us know what happened, and did it turn out okay or not? Well, maybe we'll all learn some lessons.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe you learn maybe you learn some of your limitations, and maybe this was a more, like, instead of a scolding video, it was more of an informative video. Be like, oh dude, I didn't think about like the sportsmanship aspect of it. Like, we're playing a game, right? It's like, oh, tic-tac-toe. No, I ignore your ex. Like, you know, like we're here, we're playing a sport, you know?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You know, let's get this little celebrity. Hey, Toby, you want to come over here for a second? Let's get a testimonial. Come on, run on over. Yeah. Toby, why don't you tell just real fast? True or false? It is important to tap whenever someone has you in a submission.
Very true.
You heard it right here. Yeah. So thanks for watching.
Good job, Toby.
Yeah. Toby knows the importance of tapping firsthand. That's the thing. Yeah. So we're glad to see you're in good health.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you for being on the channel. Yeah. And thanks for watching. You like and subscribing. And you want to say it?
Come down and train.
Nice. Celebrity shot, dude.
That was good, like off the cuff too. Like I didn't give you no warning at all.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And he nailed the tagline.
Yeah.
I was like, does he know the tagline?